welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's third Tuesday Go to Natchitoches show. And you should go to Natchitoches. It's one of the best cities on the planet. It is the oldest settlement in the state of Louisiana, and it was founded in 1714. Think about that. I mean, that's actually America being America. Like, this is some old stuff going on. It's actually an original French colony, and it is home to the Cane River Creole National Historical Park. That's how Nancy and I found it. And we're like, doing our Love Your Parks tour. And we're like, hey, there's a historical park in Louisiana. We got to go. And we did. And now we just keep going back every year. And we love it, love it, love it. I think we've been covering Natchitoches for almost 10 years. It is also part of the Cane River National Heritage Area because there's so much history. Places like Melrose, Plantation, even Cane River itself, which used to be the Red River, I believe. Arlene will fix me on my history on that. But so much history. They're part of Louisiana's no man's land, which at one point for 3 years, there was no one that was going to say what you could do. You could do whatever you wanted. She can also fill you in on that history a little bit better than me. But it's also the final destination on the El Camino Real de los Tejas National Historic Trail. And that goes from Mexico all the way through Texas. Tejas is a big state, and it lands in Natchitoches, which is also it's a royal road. It's amazing. And we've done parts of it. But today we're going to talk about October, end of September fall events, because the one thing Natchitoches knows how to do, I know it's a city, but it really doesn't feel like one. It's, go downtown, it's historic. There's like a brick road. There's the wrought iron. There's Cane River Lake. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. They know how to party. I'm just saying. So I'm excited to bring back Arlene Gould on the show. She is the executive director of the Natchitoches Convention and Visitor Bureau, and you can go to natchitoches.com. So here it is, natchitoches.com. Did I do it right, Arlene?
You did
Welcome
it
back.
right. Thank you, dear. Now,
Hey.
you always practice, because I know it's a hard one for people to understand. It's not spelled the way it's pronounced. So yep, Natchitoches, Natchitoches.
Yep. It's a little Disneyland in there. And, but listen, I'm right. It's the Royal Road, right? El Camino Real de los Tejas is a Royal
Yes.
road.
Yep. They also called it the King's Road, because back in the day, they, all the way to Mexico, from Mexico City to Natchitoches. And, it's, all the roads lead to Natchitoches,
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, when you think 1714, that's before that's before the Constitution. Like, that's before America.
Mm-hmm.
It
was 1776, really, yeah.
Yeah. So then you got to think, okay, now you're the no man's land. So law and order was out for 3 years, right? And,
Louisiana purchase happened in 1802, and then Louisiana became a state in 1812. So just imagine, Natchitoches had been here 102 years before Louisiana became a state.
Oh my gosh. And then it's so interesting how the War of 1812 connects to what happened with it being no man's land, and then even the Battle of New Orleans, right? There's that whole history of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other show though. And I will talk about the War of 1812 and the Battle of New Orleans forever. So I won't go there, but, the history is deep, y'all. I'm just saying it is. Speaking of history, I believe the Civil Rights Trail is actually, you've got a monument that's part of the Louisiana Civil Rights Trail that's, actually being unveiled the day this show airs, which is always the third Tuesday, everybody. So mark that on your calendars.
Yep. Yeah, our Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser, will be here in Natchitoches to unveil the Louisiana Civil Rights Trail, another marker on this trail in Louisiana. And this one will be presented at the new Texas and Pacific. Well, it's not new. It's actually almost 100 years old. But it's the old Texas and Pacific Railway train depot. here in Natchitoches in the historic district. It's been under renovation for the last probably going on 2 years, but it has been closed for almost 40 years. So they'll be unveiling a marker there to, add to the Civil Rights Trail here in Louisiana. There's a lot of history and a lot of stories to be told. So that's going to be exciting. And we're actually excited to have that new train depot because it will be the new visitor center for the National Park Service for the Cane River Creole National Historical Park. We will have it where we'll have exhibits, and it will be an official visitor center for the National Park Service here in Natchitoches.
When does that look at opening, do you think?
Well, we're having a soft opening per se next week. But they're going to be working on the interior exhibits. So I'm thinking by January, by the end of the year, we should have the interior exhibits completed. So,
but it's still exciting.
When you come to visit in November, we'll be sure to take you by there.
Oh my gosh. We've been there before, like when it first started happening. Was it last year, February? Like we broke out of our,
it's been over.
We always kept coming in July was our time to see Natchitoches every year. And then all of a sudden we did a February, like, hello, we're on our way through. And Arlene's like, you got to stop longer than a meat pie. So we did. And we had Mexican food and meat pies and, had fun on the river. But, it is interesting to me when we went to see the depot and we went over to the cemetery, which, by the way, October, like that's a good time to visit a cemetery. And this American cemetery is the oldest cemetery in the state, I believe, right? Arlene?
It's one of the oldest in the whole Louisiana Purchase territory.
Oh,
and every first Friday of every month. So, in October, which will be, I think it's October 7th. Or October 6th, Scotty Williams from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, he does a walking tour at the American Cemetery, and it's very informative and very interesting. So he'll be doing the cemetery tour at the American Cemetery on October the 6th.
And everyone, I'm going to link in the show notes, to Natchitoches.com so you get all the event information. That is your hub to plan your visit to Natchitoches. And then I'll link to our interview with Scotty, when he talked about, the cemetery, because he loves that cemetery and he is like the caretaker. I feel like he should be like the guardsman of the cemetery. And, it was so much information. It was so fascinating, the conversation. So hopefully we'll see him in November, but going back this history, you've got the cemetery, you've got all this history, you've got the brick roads, right? And that's something, you've got the Civil Rights Trail. So when that is being unveiled at the depot, which we did actually get to see, and that is a beautiful building. And I love that it's going to be, it's in the downtown district. Is that still part of the historic, district block? Like
Yes.
that actual? Okay.
Yes.
Which is great.
It's kind of on 6th Street. So it's towards the back end of the historic district. And it's obviously right by the railroad tracks because it was the train depot. It was originally opened in 1927, I believe it was. So it's coming up on a 100-year-old building, but it is a beautiful architectural masterpiece, that we're just so excited that they have finally, after 40 years, been able to put it to good use and making it part of the Cane River Creole National Historical Park Visitor Center. Yep.
I think it's great because if you go to town, like I always say, if you can go do the walk with the National Heritage Area and, do they take you around, they tell you the history because it's so in depth. The history is multifaceted in Natchitoches because it is so old, yet and full of charm. And, you go around and you'll really get to understand the history, and you have someone who can answer questions and put it in a way that if you're like me, sometimes my brain shuts off. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not that smart. And then I'm going to tell you, I got it when I went around with them. They make it so alive. And when you're walking the streets, that sounds bad, but when you're walking the streets of Natchitoches, really, you start to really understand what went down and envision it. And then you'll understand more about what no man's land is like, what the Louisiana Purchase is about. They really do an amazing job, and there's so much history and architecture to experience that. I love that the depot is going to be the visitor center for the National Park Service because actually Cane River Creole National Historical Park is 2 units. There's a magnolia plantation and Oakland plantation. So kind of makes sense that they have this headquarters. And is Cane River National Heritage Area instrumental in this too, Arlene, for them
Yes,
to
they
be kind of
are.
united?
Yes,
Makes sense.
The Cane River National Heritage Area is falls under the National Park Service, under the Department of Interior for the national parks and such. So yes, they are involved in this. They'll be helping with the exhibits and such. But it's a wonderful tourism partnership that we all share and we're all very proud of to take part in.
And when it comes to that being part of the Civil Rights Trail, is it because of the plantation history that it puts it there, as well as like Melrose as well? Melrose
Well,
Plantation, which I know we'll talk about
the
today.
exhibits at the train station are going to be based on local people, given their oral history and their personal experiences during the civil rights movement and coming in and out of the train station and some things that happened during that time at, around the train station area. But during the civil rights movement. Yep.
Oh, so there's going to be an actual exhibit, not just here's your plaque.
Yes, they will have, no, it'll be a visitor center. They'll have an educational component where they'll have exhibits where you can, for interpreters, to, kind of give some stories and some backstories, and then use it also for small meeting space, or, it's just going to be a mixture of things in addition to the national park headquarters for the Cane River and their administrative offices for the Cane River Creole National Historical Park.
I love this. This is so exciting. It's going to be a mixed
use building. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. Nancy and I are excited about it. And I love that you're going to have, an actual exhibit that goes with the Civil Rights Trail and more than a plaque. You know what I mean? That people can really understand the
and when
history.
We get closer to the actual opening, we can maybe do a show on that and invite the new superintendent.
Of course.
So that way they can give us some more specifics about some of the actual exhibits and the history.
Well, we've done some history shows as well. We've done some Black history shows. Remember, we did that just this year.
So Black History Month.
I will link it all in the show notes, everyone. Just go check it out, y'all. I'll just say y'all now because Arlene's on the show. But we also have another amazing guest joining us, and I'm excited about this because we have talked about TappedTober on every fall show since this event happened. And now finally we get to have someone join us to talk about it. And we have Haley Arrington joining us. TappedTober is happening October 7th in Natchitoches. So welcome to the show. Haley, how are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and get to talk a little bit about TappedTober.
Listen, I just wish we were there. I'm just like, can we go there now? Because this is TappedTober is like a wine and beer festival, and you got Tracy Lawrence. Am I right? Like the Tracy Lawrence coming to town?
That's correct.
Dude, I know you're not a dude, but you dude.
Yes. We are pretty excited about it.
Oh, so is it 5 years that it's been going?
This is the 5th year for TappedTober. Yeah.
Wow. So
and every year I think it gets a little bigger and a little better, in my personal opinion.
Well, it's sounding like it, but before we get into it, to like how many beers you can have and how much music you can listen to, this is actually a nonprofit venture, right?
The TappedTober is put on by the Natchitoches Regional Medical Center Foundation, and it is actually a fundraiser for our cancer center. And just in the past, the festival has funded the purchase of a new van to help our patients get to and from their appointments. And so every year we continue to support, care for our patients and access to care right here at home.
Oh, wow. So you have a van so if someone is elderly, doesn't drive, and maybe their family's in New Orleans or, Shreveport or something, this van can help them go to their medical appointments? Is that how it works?
Yes, it helps transport our cancer patients to and from their appointments if they do not have transportation.
So is this cancer mostly?
Yes, yes, it supports our cancer center and any initiatives we have. Currently, we are in the process of raising money to get a PET scanner for our cancer center. So that's one of the things that this festival will support.
What is a PET scanner?
A PET scanner is used to detect cancer. It is a higher image quality and actually can really focus in on detecting cancer, smaller cancers. So it's just an technology upgrade for us.
Yeah. So it's not, so we can't bring our dogs. Like, is that what you're saying?
Not that kind of pet. Yes.
Okay. I know Arlene just, her ears perked up right there. I know, right, Arlene? You're like, ooh, there's a dog involved, but I can't, this is so interesting about how technology has changed for cancer, right? We hear about mammograms and then don't do it and yes, do it. And so is it getting better, do you think, in what technology is doing that maybe not be so invasive and get better results? I know we've talked about this actually on some shows about AI helping. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And, I think, for us, we just are focused on providing, care for our patients here in town so they don't have to
Hmm.
leave Natchitoches to go out and get these scans.
Yeah.
And, nowadays, to get a PET scan, currently patients are having to wait 2 and 3 weeks. And, when you've been diagnosed or
Oh,
potentially diagnosed with cancer, 2 or 3 weeks seems like an eternity to get a
yeah,
diagnosis,
yeah.
to get a
That's
plan
scary.
for treatment. So this, if we could get this here, it would definitely cut back on the
Oh,
wait times and speed up the process.
and then even driving somewhere, you want to be home. You know what I mean? When stuff's
Yes.
going down, you want to feel cozy and in your community, I think. And I love what you're doing. I love this. And so this festival has been going on. It's one night, right? It's downtown Natchitoches, right? Listen, downtown Natchitoches is the party spot. It is. You've got actual downtown with the shops and everything, but downtown on the riverfront is where it's happening. So,
Absolutely.
I hear you have beer, football, and wine. We have wine too now,
That's right.
not
That's
just
right.
beer.
That's right. And it's an all day festival and it is a family friendly festival, even though we say it is beer and wine
Yeah, yeah.
festival. We have a kids zone that's free for any kids to come. There's jumpies. There's a mechanical bull. We have yard games. So there's something for everyone. We have food trucks. It's just a great day to spend in downtown Natchitoches.
So when does Tracy Lawrence hit the stage?
So Tracy Lawrence actually closes out the festival, so he will go on stage at 8:30 that night.
Arlene, are you going to be there? I know
Yes,
Arlene's
I'll
music.
be in
I
town that
I know it.
weekend, so I'll be there.
Oh, I know she's going to be there. Well, you know what? I think that's really cool. And I love that you're doing like a fun event, because I think you can't, it's hard to raise awareness about needs like cancer, right? Because nobody wants to look at the things that are scary.
Right.
And at the same time, what you're doing with this, having like a PET scan and the technology that goes with that, the PET scanning technology, is really amazing to do. How much money do you need to raise? Like how many people do you want downtown to make this happen? And I love that, by the way, that the funds are staying local, right? Is this
Oh,
money that comes in
absolutely.
from the beer purchases? It's a free festival for kids, but like, how does the money thing happen? And how much do you want?
So first of all, we could not do it without our sponsors. We have, some really great community sponsors who support the event and they do it because they support the cause. They, support our foundation. So without
Sure.
them, it wouldn't be possible. And then yes, ticket sales is another way that we, raise money from the event. We hope that we pack the downtown riverbank. We would love to see between 2 and 3,000 people in attendance. And I don't think that is out of reach.
Arlene, what do you think?
I think
Two,
that's quite
3,000?
possible. Oh
I
yeah.
think you got,
Oh yeah.
you got
Very, yeah. That's
You got
that's
family games. It's family friendly. You got Tracy Lawrence. You got wine. You've got football on the screen too. You got
Yep,
beer. I mean, this is sounding like, and it's perfect weather time. So the TappedTober.com is the website to go to. Haley, am I right on the website? The
that is
TappedTober?
correct. Yes, and you can find a link to purchase tickets there. You can find detailed schedules of the day, all the good stuff.
Oh man, this is cool. I just love what you're doing. And the fact that it stays local, right? I think even visitors coming to town want to be part of a community. Part of
That's right.
travel is that you want to hang with the locals. And if you can support the locals in some way and have a good time, Arlene, right? This is good tourism, right? It's
Absolutely.
one of
Absolutely.
the best ways. Arlene, I do want to go back on a little bit of music here. I do believe, I know we're recording this a few days, before we air on the third Tuesday, but what's going on with Jim Croce? Like, you got an exhibit, or what you got? Like, what's going on? What's going
Well,
on?
next week will be the 50th anniversary that Jim Croce played his last concert here in Natchitoches,
What?
Louisiana. Yes, at Northwestern State University. And unfortunately, after that concert, his plane crashed and he died. But at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum, they're going to be doing a salute to Jim Croce. It's photographs and memories. And so they have a documentary that Northwestern State University has put together. It's titled The Night That the Music Died. And they're going to have performance by a local musician, Billy Ocon, who's going to perform some Jim Croce songs. And we have a lot of locals that were actually students at Northwestern at that time that attended his last concert. So we're just going to be doing a salute to Jim Croce and who
I
doesn't
love
love
it.
a little Leroy Brown and Time in a Box
Yeah.
and all that good music that he left us with.
And you're
So
going to be there for that too, right? I know
you know it. You know
Now
it.
listen, I really don't mean to be weird in saying this at all. But it is interesting, the Jefferson Highway, right? We have to bring this back. We always bring up the Jefferson Highway on these shows now.
Uh-huh.
The Jefferson Highway is a historic highway started in 1915 that goes from Winnipeg, Canada to New Orleans, and Natchitoches is one of the key spots. Arlene is the one who got us all into this. And now we have a Natchitoches show every fourth Thursday, and we've been traveling it. We've gotten mosquito bites in, lake areas in the summer and had the best time. But what I find is and again, I'm not trying to be, weird, but how interesting you were in Iowa, and you were right there where the surf ballroom was and the
Right.
site where the big
Really
bopper
hot.
went down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're talking about like two major plane crashes with musicians on this historic Jefferson High. And I'm really not being heartless. But I find it like you better all start driving instead of flying. But no, I'm just kidding. But, and I don't mean it that way, but I'm just saying, isn't that wild? The music history, like how
Yeah.
connected that
Yep.
many miles? Like,
Right. Right. Now, and that was some great music, that Buddy Holly and those guys left behind,
mhm.
and even Jim
Richie
Croce.
Valens, Big
Yep.
Bopper. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, yep, they left us with some good music. I mean, um, just, we're thankful for the music that they left for us.
Yeah. I just find it interesting. Like, that history, that shared history, just it is always weird to me, like how things happen. That synchronicity is the word.
Right.
That's a positive word. And good music, like you're saying. And I did not know that about, I think you might have told me about Jim Croce though. But you've had Johnny Cash. You keep telling me about all these people, like, Fats
Oh, that's
Domino
right.
playing
That's
Blueberry
right,
Hill. Like
Johnny.
I'm going,
That's right.
everybody's
Well,
played
Johnny
in
Cash
Natchitoches
used to
at
come
some point.
fishing here on Cane River. I mean, back in the day, he would be out here fishing on Cane River with Johnny Horton. So, yeah, we got some pictures
Yeah.
of that too. So,
When are
yeah,
you going to have an exhibit of the music of Natchitoches? I kind of feel that needs to happen.
you
And
know,
then Tracy Lawrence can be in there, right, Haley? We could
that's right.
add Tracy Lawrence for playing there at
Right.
TappedTober, Tab Benoit for being at, oh, come on. Like there
That's
needs
right.
to
You
be
were
like
here
a,
when he was inducted into the
mm-hmm.
folk. Hey, I got to tell you a funny story because speaking of music, Lainey Wilson performed here in
Nancy
Natchitoches
Amaze. The girl
for a
is
couple
kicking
of
butt.
our different festivals over the years, but we knew her
Mm-hmm.
before she was real famous.
Dude, I know she's Louisiana. She's a good girl. Like she is like
She's
awesome. Like
she's killing it.
she's down home,
Yeah.
honest, pure, and just like, and she was at the Rose Bowl parade with you,
She
right?
rode on the float with us for Louisiana in the Rose Parade, and so happy to hear last week that she was nominated for a historic 9 country
Nine
music
CMAs.
awards. Yeah. Yep.
But
Good stuff.
she's on, like, still, like, so
Down to earth.
genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah, down to earth. That's exactly the word. So, like, down to earth, like, yeah. And, she's so awesome. She did a duet with Lucas Nelson, who's been on our show, Willie Nelson's son.
Mm-hmm.
And, they were so cute and funny. And I was like, ooh, what's going on with those two? But then when I found out, now she's got a fiance and stuff, she finally, like, spills the beans. And I was like, what's going on with these two now? Ooh, he's got some love interest there. Cause the video is kind of like, ooh, but no, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. But I love that. I think that, Louisiana puts out some good music. You can't beat it. And Natchitoches, you're in it too. I want
Right.
people to know that it goes beyond New Orleans, Louisiana music. And I think it's like Mississippi, where Mississippi blues, right? It's not just Mississippi blues or Chicago blues or Louisiana blues. It's still different every place you go a little bit. It changes up a little bit, right? Wouldn't you say that, Arlene? As
Yeah,
you travel?
that's what they call the Mississippi Blues Trail. But you're right, Louisiana has all kind of genres of music. I mean, from jazz and zydeco and country with the Louisiana Hayride. I mean, you name it, we've got it. So,
Well, I
little
thought
rock
the
and roll with
hayride
Jerry
was a
Lee Lewis.
hayride. I only found out what the hayride was until we went to that museum in the state park, the Rebel State Park.
Yes.
Is it Robeline area on the way to Kisatchie
Uh-huh.
National Forest?
Yeah, I think it's
And I thought
Marthaville
the
somewhere.
Louisiana and the hayrides. Listen, I watched all hee haw things one New Year's Eve, like all night long. Like I did I think I've seen every hee haw thing, and they kept talking about the Louisiana hay rides, and they're sitting on hay. So I thought, oh, these people played music on. Listen, I'd come fresh out of Africa, so just people listening, don't give me that much flack. Don't email me about it. I had no clue. I didn't know who the Allman Brothers were when I got to this country, and I played with one of the bass players in a band, so I still had to learn. So just saying. But when I got here, like they were talking about Louisiana hay rides, and I'm looking at hee haw, and they're all playing on hay bales and stuff. So I thought, oh, so they were just playing music in farms and stuff, and I had no idea I didn't know,
You're
Arlene.
too funny. You're too funny.
But it's the
So,
truth. It's the
we
truth.
have a lot
And
of
you
other
don't know
things
until
going
you
on.
go to the place,
Yep. We've got some other things going on in October here in Natchitoches. If anybody wants to come visit, we've got some events going on down at Melrose. You've been to Melrose.
Ooh, yes.
And we've got some things going on down in the Creole community, the Creole Festival coming up in October. So the weekend of October the 13th through the 15th will be a very big weekend going on. We have the car show coming up at the end of September 29th. And then we've got a Candlelight on the Cane. It's a Friday night tour on Friday the 13th, for the Association for Preservation of Historic Natchitoches. They'll be doing some tours that Friday night. And then on Saturday and Sunday at Melrose, it's their Fall Festival, October 14th and 15th. And also down at Melrose on the 14th and 15th is the St. Augustine Creole Festival.
And so everybody, can you give everyone a little overview about when you talk about St. Augustine in the Creole Festival? Like these are all parts of the Cane River National Heritage Area. Melrose Plantation is like where Clementine Hunter, just for new listeners and that may have not been to Natchitoches.
Melrose actually was founded around 1833, and it was founded by Marie Therese Quan. She was kind of born in the household of Saint Denis where she grew up, and then she became a landowner, a former slave woman that had gained her freedom, and she became a landowner. And her family owned what was then Yucca Plantation, but it's now Melrose Plantation. But it became a big writers and artist colony, and so each year they have a big Arts and Crafts Festival. And in the fall this year, second Saturday in October, they're going to have their fall festival with more arts and crafts out there. And, just, all kind of fun stuff, food vendors and arts and crafts, tables for the kids and those types of things. And then not far from Melrose Plantation is the Cane River Creole community, where the church community started over 200 years ago. and that is St. Augustine Church. So they have a Creole festival each year on the same weekend. And again, it was Marie Therese Kwan's children that built the church, and they built Melrose Plantation over 200 years ago.
And this is all part of the set of Steel Magnolias, the movie. Just saying.
That's right. That's the church where the wedding scene was filmed with Julia Roberts, where she got married. And, that was the church, St. Augustine Church. But, it's always on that Friday night. They always have a fish fry, and they have, all kind of live music and all that. And then Saturday and Sunday, they have all the Creole ladies out there making the meat pies and the gumbo. Oh my God, you talk about some good cooking. Real good cooking.
I also want to say too, you've got the Natchitoches Car Show. So everybody 29th and 30th, that's happening on September, that people should be reminded of. But you've also got like you're saying, the Pumpkin Glow. You've got all of these things happening. And then just to give everyone a quick overview, Christmas is coming, like right after that, right? In November.
Yep. After October hits November, we turn on the lights on November 18th. Well, they'll be on for about 6 weeks, through January the 6th of 2024. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine already 2024? But our 97th annual Natchitoches Christmas Festival season kicks off on November the 18th. And, we'll have fireworks each Saturday night. I don't know if you know, just recently in this past several weeks, well, most of the summer, we went for like over 50 something days with no rain. So we were in a burn ban. Couldn't burn anything.
Wow. I can't even imagine that in your area because you're so humid. That's wild.
I'm telling you, you should see our lawns and our potted plants, and everything is just, so we don't even know if we're going to have fireworks this weekend because the burn ban is still in effect. But we're supposed to have fireworks for the meat pie festival, but we don't think that that's going to happen because the burn ban, it's just not right. It's not safe. It's just, the time.
No. Look at what happens in California and Arizona and New Mexico, Canada. It's safe to be there. I mean, things are changing in our climate. But, and that's something to, again, like before you go somewhere, like national parks and things like that, and really Cane River Creole National Historical Park, you're pretty good. But just go to Natchitoches.com and, before you travel and, check out what's going on. And they have an amazing, friendly, awesome staff that will answer questions if you want to call them. Yes, people can still pick up the phone. It still exists. And
people still
it's
talk.
A beautiful destination. No matter what time of year you go, I don't care. Nancy and I have been going in the summer for years. And even, we're sweating. We're losing weight. Let's go like have another meat pie. It's okay. We're losing weight from sweating, right? It actually doesn't work that way, but we try to say that, but it's an amazing destination, and fall's going to be, we can't wait to be there, for the beginning of the Christmas, celebrations. I mean, we've talked about it for years on the show. We've almost been covering Natchitoches for, 10 years now, believe it or not. Yep.
Well,
and
I sincerely hope that your listeners that are listening to this podcast do take a trip and take an opportunity to come to Louisiana, and do come to Natchitoches and be pleasantly surprised and kick back and relax and enjoy it. And we can't wait. We can't wait to welcome them.
Yeah, everybody, if you go to Natchitoches.com, that's also the site for booking lodging. There's brand hotels, there's B&Bs, there's Airbnb, there's everything. There's everything there. So go to Natchitoches.com. That's Natchitoches.com. And of course, keep up with us at BigBlendRadio.com. We are here every third Tuesday talking about Natchitoches because we love Natchitoches and we can't wait to go back. And once you go, you're going to have to go back. I promise you. Thanks so much, Arlene. And it was great to have Haley on the show as well. So thank you for bringing her on. For that website, go to TappedTober.com as well. So thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you.